Are you working with someone you can't stand? We've all been there. Working with people I want to punch in the throat has been called relatable and laugh out loud hilarious. Read the stories about all the crazy people Jen Mann has worked with over the years. Find out who she wants to punch in the throat. Working with people I want to punch in the throat is now available everywhere books are sold.
Hi, I'm Denise Grover-Swank.
And I'm Jen Mann.
And welcome to Two Midlife Mommas.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you, Denise?
I'm doing well. I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
I've been working hard to get 2 books done, and but I have no excuse for being a little tired because I slept about 10 hours last night.
Well, that's good, because the last time we recorded these podcasts, you
was working on 3 hours sleep.
You'd been like in an all-nighter or something.
Yeah.
So,
and I've finished another book since then. But in fairness,
I got 2 chapters.
I had started that book before, so like in November. So
doesn't matter.
You got 2 chapters done. Yay!
Yay! I need my gold stars.
So how's your book coming?
You know, it's coming. It's I think I'm finally this week it finally started clicking. Like I had so many like half ideas that I wanted, but I didn't know quite what I was going to do with those ideas.
Right.
And now it's starting to sort of all come together. It's different. You know, normally when I write nonfiction, I write memoirs, so I already know the stories I'm going to tell.
Right.
So it's not that hard, really.
Right.
Like, I'm like, oh, tell that story about that one time you fell down the stairs. Like, that was hilarious. And in this, it's like, I'm like, make sure everyone knows how pissed off you are. You know, like, you know, make sure you talk about this. And I'm like, but where? You know?
Right.
And so that's been kind of the hard part is, like, I have a lot to say. It's just how I'm going to package it.
Right.
Is the main thing. And that's what I'm trying to, it's finally clicking this week is how it's going to be packaged.
Oh, that's good.
So I have like thousands and thousands and thousands of words written, but I didn't have
them all like put together.
I had nothing done. And it was really starting to stress me out because nothing was finished. And so, I don't usually use, I don't know how you write, but I normally just use like Word. And
I was actually just getting ready to ask you this. So,
I decided at the last minute that I needed Scrivener.
I was wondering because if you got all these different parts, Scrivener would probably work.
Yeah, good for so it took me a whole day to like put everything into Scrivener and you sort of like you label what it is and you know where it's at, what status it has, and I decided to do all that so I could at least, and then I could look at it because you kind of look at it as like a one big thing, and then you can move things around. Yes, and that is me. And I tried Scrivener before, and it did not work for me before.
I've tried Scrivener before; it did not work for me.
And so for this book, it's working. But I have found, I don't know how you are, but I have found every book I have to have something different. Like I have to either I work somewhere different or I listen to something different. And so this book is largely dictated too, because when I first started it, I was having like issues with my eyes still and I couldn't see very well. And so I had dictated and that is just, I don't know if you've ever dictated a book, but it is, you get a lot done, but it's a shitstorm of words. Like it makes no sense because the thing that the microphone doesn't understand you very well.
Right. I've tried it, but usually like with my phone.
Yeah.
And dictated into that. I've tried Dragon and then I didn't have it set up right or whatever. But I usually end up changing everything. Yeah. So I had to go down to the lake for something and I was really behind in a book and I was totally stressed out. And I was like, oh man, you could talk in your phone. So I figured out you could actually, on your phone, you can get a Google document and talk into the Google document. Yeah. And I'm like, perfect, I'll just do that. And then I'll just copy and paste it into my book. But it just didn't work out. Like everything, probably 3/4. I got a lot of words in that document. I was like super proud of myself. Right? But I probably only used about a quarter of them. And even then I had to like totally like work the hell out of them to get them to fit. So,
I mean, the dictation was good for me to sort of get down a few like paragraphs or something like that. Like that I would, and then I would like, because I was like kind of train of thought. Like I was just sort of like, and then I should talk about this.
So that works because
But Dragon hates that I cuss, and so everything was like, talk about your ducking menopause. And that always frustrates. And then the other thing with dictation, because you have to put in all the punctuation, that kind of harshes my buzz when I'm writing.
Yeah. I did get used to that.
Like when you're typing, you don't notice it, but when I'm dictating, I'm like, close quote.
Yeah.
And it's like, did you say, I said.
Yeah, right. Or if you like want something and it like misinterprets, like you're trying to put it in punctuation and it like types it out or whatever.
Yeah. So but it's getting there now. So I was not sleeping well, but it was one of those things where I wasn't sleeping well, but then like I couldn't get any work done either. So which is always the worst. But no, it's starting to click now. So yay.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So so I'm actually, you said, you do things differently with each book. So I'm actually going to try Scrivener with the book I'm getting ready to start. But I'm really excited because like I've talked about how I have deadlines and I haven't been meeting them, and it totally stresses me out. So I have 2 pre-orders, 2 more books that are set up for pre-order and no more after that. And then usually I have my editor scheduled, but I've decided I'm going to try to finish a book and then send it to my editor and then set up. I don't know if this is going to work because I'm very deadline driven, and I'm worried it's going to take me 6 months to finish a book that would take me 2.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I wouldn't finish without a deadline because like even when I'm
I'll give myself a deadline. Yeah. But I won't like.
And you got to give yourself a punishment.
That's true. Because, like, I'm so tired of sending Angela half-finished work.
Yeah.
So, that's my editor. So, Anyway.
Yeah, because, that was hard for me to figure out, because I think the very first time I published a book, like, I didn't realize I needed to get on an editor's calendar so early. Because that's the hard part. Yes. A good editor's in high demand. Yes. And so you got to get on their calendar.
Yeah.
But then you're working with that deadline and looming over you. And you're like, I hope I make it. And so
I'm really worried about having a huge gap.
Yeah.
in releases. So I don't know, but I'm tired of being stressed out by it. Like it's a total stress. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I can find a happy medium. Yeah. And then also I'm like still talking to a publisher about releasing a series with them, and I'm like, then I'm back on that treadmill again of, here's a deadline. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, and see, I think that's my problem is this time they gave me too long. Yeah. They gave me a year to write this book.
God.
And like I just had a check-in call with my agent this week, and I told him, he's like, how's it coming? I'm like, I said, I am literally that person who will turn in, like, you give me a deadline and I'll meet it, but it will be midnight that night.
Yes.
And I said, so now, we're about 5 months out. So it's about time for me to start having it click and start to feel like, okay, I got to get this written now.
Well, and I used to be the person that would meet the deadline and I would be right down to the wire. And then I started missing them. And then it just became routine. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. And it's so unprofessional and I hate it.
Well,
I feel terrible about myself then when I do it. And I'm like, I'm tired of feeling guilty and stressed and bad, so
it's not worth it. You're self-employed, you get to pick, so I know. That's the beauty of it.
Again, I'm very worried I won't finish a book again.
Well, like I said, you gotta make sure you have a punishment if you miss that deadline.
And who knows, maybe I'll like write a whole bunch.
Maybe you will.
Who knows, maybe
you'll have a whole new series to release when you're done.
I know. My problem is I have so many ideas and I want to write so many books, and you can only write so many books, and like I want to start a new rom-com series. So.
What?
Yeah, I do, like really, really, really bad. Like
maybe you should be like, who's the guy who just puts his name on books and like everybody else writes him?
Robert
Patterson.
Yeah, is it Robert?
Robert. Wait, but we're talking about the same guy, Patterson. James Patterson.
I feel stupid now that I didn't know that off the top of my head. Mush. I know, I'm tired, right?
No, but I think he's got the right idea. Like you just sort of put your seal of approval. You're like, you give them the idea, and you're like, go, 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 and I'm gonna I'll say written by me too.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't have that many ideas, so good for you. Gosh, that's great.
Well, I'm gonna try to find a co-writer with the rom-com series. I think so. I think I have somebody.
That's good.
Yeah. So then I get to have my cake and eat it too. So. I don't have to carry the full load.
That's always good.
So Jen, when did you first publish? So for those of you who don't know, Jen had a blog, People I Want to Punch in the Throat, and then she had a post that went viral. So yeah.
I wrote a post about the Elf on the Shelf on my blog back in the day, and it went viral, and it was read by 1 million people in 24 hours, and that sort of just like launched everything. Like, I'd always wanted to be a writer,
right?
But I had no idea. I have a degree in creative writing, but I mostly have been using it just to write to-do lists. And
I took a creative writing class at Longview Community College and flunked it. So.
Well, and I joke that my creative writing professors would like die. You know, I was supposed to be, Donna Tartt or something like that. Yeah. Instead, I'm, Jen Man, the F-bomb fairy. Yeah. So yeah, but I was, how old was I? Is that what you asked me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't ask that, but that's where I was headed.
Because that's what our topic is today. Yes. I think I was, how old am I now? I'm 40. I was like 37, 36 when that came out. When that went viral, I was late 30s, something like that. And then the next year I published my first book. So late 30s.
Yeah. So this obviously wasn't your like destined career. It wasn't your career that you did after college, and it just kind of like fell into it.
Right. I think the internet, made it possible. Yes. I don't think I had, you and I both live in the Midwest, and we know that, like, part of the reason why I drive 45 minutes, once a month to do this is because there are very few of us here. There are very few authors here in Kansas City that you can sort of talk to and commiserate with, and who understand how weird you are and what you do.
Yeah. Although, you know what I thought? It would be fun to, like, start one.
Yeah?
Yeah. Maybe there'll be couples there.
Maybe you'll meet somebody.
After our last conversation.
Yeah. No, I think, I mean, I would love to, like, meet other writers in Kansas City. I'm, like, desperate. But I think that, but I didn't know how to be, we just didn't have that exposure. Even as a creative writing major in college. I mean, they were sort of like, and now you'll go do advertising. And I was like,
oh, really?
Yeah, they really pushed me towards, like, advertising.
Oh, wow.
They wanted me to be, like, a copywriter. And they're like, you can go be a copywriter. And they're like, you have witty things you say. You should be a copywriter. And I was like, but I want to be a novelist. And they're like, copywriter sounds good. Like,
oh, wow. Okay.
And so I never had met an agent. I had never met anyone who was traditionally published or even self-published. And then I'd heard about you about the same time I went viral. It was about when you were sort of really breaking out in the publishing world.
Right.
And I was like, who's that lady? What's she doing? I was like, can I do that? And you kind of inspired it, actually.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. Because how old were you when you published your first book?
Let's see. I published in 2011. So how old was I? I was in my 40s. Yeah. Yeah, I think I was 47. Yeah.
Yeah, and I went viral in 2011, and then I published my first one in 2012.
But I didn't write. I wrote and finished my first book like a year and a half before that.
Did you? Did you do like Nano or something?
I did NaNoWriMo. So I'd always planned to write a book. I'd started several, never finished.
Yeah.
And then I heard about NaNoWriMo, and then Daryl had died like a few years before, because this was 2009. And I was like, life is short. If you're going to do things, you need to do it. You need to quit talking about finishing and writing a book and actually do it. Yeah. So, once I started Nano and finished my first book, it was like I was on fire then. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Well, and I think the planets kind of aligned there in 2011 too.
Yes.
Like, and that's where I say I think the internet really helped. Yes. And I think, I don't know about you, but I always say that the internet sort of gave me my chance. It took a lot of hard work. Right. But I needed that spark.
Sometimes there's a little bit of luck involved with things. Yes. Like timing and everything.
And 2011 was a really good time to sort of published either online or published through Amazon or something like that. And so you and I were both sort of in that sphere. And there was people were hungry for content.
Well, in 2011, most readers weren't aware that there were indie published books. Yeah. And so the Kindle was just coming out. Kindle Fire came out at the end of 2011. And so, they're looking for cheap content. And so big 5 publishers where their ebooks were $9.99, $11.99, even back then. Mm-hmm. And I'm pricing things at 99 cents and $2.99, and they don't know the difference. They just see, these are, I
can get 10 books or I can get 1 book.
And my books were visible because they were in the top 100, top 100 of the store, top 100 of their genre.
Yeah.
And so, that was our best marketing, was the fact that readers didn't realize there was a difference, and that the books they were familiar with were super expensive. So, yeah.
And I think, too, I always say, too, that I needed to be that old for it to happen. I wanted to be a writer since I was, a kid. And I tried, when I was 22, 23. Yeah. But I think I needed the experience of my life that I'd already had. Yes. Because especially for me, I write memoir. And so I needed a couple of kids. A couple of kids and a husband to make fun of. But I needed that experience, and I needed the confidence that you get as you age. Like I didn't have I would not have felt, it felt much more, it would have felt like a much bigger risk in my 20s to do what we did, and to say like, okay, we're going to invest, we're going to hire an editor, we're going to hire a cover designer, we're going to invest thousands of dollars in you, Jen.
Because we became, like as indie publishers, we're our own publishing team.
When you're self-publishing, it's all on you. Yes. But yet you still need to do all those things.
Yeah, definitely.
If you are a writer listening to this, you do need an editor.
you do not, and it's not your next door neighbor who's really good at English.
Yeah. And so, but it was like, but for me in my 30s, it's like we had that, I don't know. It was just, I had more of the confidence to do it. Yeah. And I kind of had, I felt like, okay, and if it goes bad, it goes bad. I think like when I was younger, I put a lot more pressure on myself to succeed. Whereas I get older, I'm just like, well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Right. Exactly. And I do that too with certain things. So it's just a shot in the dark. It's just for fun or whatever. If it doesn't do well, whatever.
And I think midlife is a great time to pivot. And to me, that was my pivot. Like it was a time.
It was a total pivot for me.
I was done doing what I was doing, and it was time to pivot. But it was interesting because, part of why I wanted to talk about this today was because I saw this tweet about at the end of the year for 2020, this woman said, I hope that we don't do these 30 under 30 lists. I would love to hear about a 40-something mom of 2 who wrote a best-selling book. And I was like, hello? She's like in her 30s or 40s. And so I was like, that's me. And, and I think, and that's you. And so it's like, and people started like chiming in with all their accomplishments that they've accomplished in midlife. And it was a really cool and inspiring thread to read.
Yes.
And I was really impressed by, so many of them. Some of them were, taking dance classes. Some of them were the lead in a play, all these things. And then they had some stats that I found, and it was saying that so the average U.S. entrepreneurs at the time they created their companies was 42.
Really?
Yeah. And
I had no idea.
And you hear like all this buzz about all these young people starting companies and things like that.
And I think that's kind of stereotypical, like, that they're all young and super energetic. And
I was going to say, like, we enamor the youth, we love those youth. And then it says the average software startup is 40 years old. The average age in oil, gas, and biotech is 47. Wow. And the average age of entrepreneurs who founded the most successful companies is 45.
Wow.
And I thought that was really kind of cool. And so it says if you're planning to start a business, write a book, or chase your dreams, it's never too late to start.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, because we're told to, as a culture, we worship youth.
Yeah.
And so, once you hit your 40s, it's kind of like, oh, you're just coasting to retirement now.
Right.
And so, like, I've thought about that lately. I'm in my 50s. I'm like, retirement. Like,
do I do that?
I don't think I would.
Yeah.
Like, I might slow down at some point.
Do you think you'll pivot again to something else? Or do you think writing is going to be your thing now?
I think I'll always write because I really like telling stories. But I can see me slowing down. Mm-hmm. And, the publishing world is changing. Yeah. So I've actually realized...
might be forced to pivot.
Right. So I've actually made a couple of investments and things outside of publishing that will hopefully, like, pay me money.
Yeah.
The thought is that they would like pay my monthly salary. So that even if that would be, even if I don't make much money publishing, I could still publish, write and publish books. And
or not worry so much about, is this one saleable or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
well, I just thought it was a really cool thread to read. And I think, it's interesting to see how many women are sort of either trying new careers.
Yes.
Or they are going back to school, maybe. Or I saw a lot of people talking about painting and sculpting, doing artistic things that maybe they didn't have time for,
right?
Or the money to do.
Exactly.
Like now that we're like once you reach your 50s and you're no longer paying for your kids to be in soccer, and suddenly you have all this money.
Well, the whole stereotypical like older guy in a convertible or whatever, and so like one of my kids made a comment about it, and I said, okay, well, first of all, I'm like, they now have the money to do it. Like, because I used to think that too. But now I'm like, okay, well, now they don't have kids they're supporting. So they actually have the income to have just a fun car. They don't have to put them in the back seat. Yeah, they don't need a car that can haul 8 people. It's not necessarily a midlife crisis. It's just that they have the ability and the means to do it.
If anything, people are foolish in a minivan these days.
Exactly, right?
Where are you going?
So when we were like we decided to do this, I looked up some people that were successful after 40.
Okay.
Some of them were really surprising to me. Some of them I knew. Vera Wang did not get her start in wedding dresses until she was 40.
I think I had read that somewhere because I'm a huge Vera Wang fan.
Yeah, she was the editor at Vogue and then went to Ralph Lauren. And then she got married at 40 and designed her own wedding dress. It cost $10,000 to make. And then she opened a bridal boutique.
Well, not quite the same success we've had, but she
can still get to us.
Man, I do love my Vera for Kohl's.
Yeah, so. I know. I wonder if she envisioned that when she like opened that wedding.
I doubt it. Boutique, she probably was like, "What is Kohl's?"
Yeah. Julia Child. She was 40 when she had her TV show. She did not learn to cook till she was 36.
I can't even believe that. I guess that gives me hope. Maybe I'll finally learn to cook one of these days.
So she learned to cook, and then she moved to Paris with her husband, who worked in the embassy. And then she and 2 friends opened a French cooking school.
Oh, my goodness.
And then she had her PBS show at 40.
You live the life.
I know, right? She's like totally cool. She's like one of my heroes. Okay, so another person who let's see. Another person was Viola Davis, the actress.
Yeah.
Yeah, she she started acting, I think, at 31. She made her Broadway debut. But she was in her 40s when she was in the movie Doubt. And she was 43 years old.
So how old is she now?
It doesn't say, but she's amazing. In How to Get Away with Murder and several other The Help.
I just watched a movie with her this week. The one with The Widows, it's called. I think The Widows.
Oh, yeah.
Where their husbands were like gangsters.
Yeah.
I mean, she looks incredible.
I know, right? I don't know how old she is, but she's amazing.
And to break into Hollywood that late, that's pretty cool.
I know, right? Another person that really surprised me, Lucille Ball.
How old was she?
She was 40 when they did I Love Lucy.
Really?
Yeah. Wait, and then, okay, so think about this. She had little Ricky in her 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just assumed she was like 20-something.
I know. She didn't look 40. So
I'm just being shown in black and white all the time.
We talked before about people in their 40s, how they looked old. She's definitely one of them who did not. No. So tell your uncle that we've amended it to not all.
Not all.
Hashtag not all.
Right.
Not all 50, 40-year-olds.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. Laura Ingalls Wilder. She published her first book at 65.
Really?
Little House on the Prairie. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I guess it'd be Little House in the Big Woods. It's her first one.
Right. That was her first one. But still.
Yeah. Ariana Huff.
Ariana Huffington?
Huffington. Yeah. She founded Huffington Post at 55.
Gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And then Melissa McCarthy was in her 40s.
I love Melissa McCarthy.
I do too. I love her so much.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah.
Oh, so not till her 40s either.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah. So, it's there's people out there, but we don't like celebrate it that much. We celebrate the youth, the 30 under 30, and people to watch. Or
if we do celebrate it, it's because they're defying expectations.
Right.
Like one of these episodes we talked about Shakira and J-Lo.
Yes.
And how great they looked, for quote unquote for their age.
Yes. Yeah.
No, they look great for human beings. Period.
But
it's like it seems like middle-aged people only make the news when we do something that sort of is age defying.
Right. Right.
Instead of but when I read those stats about, businesses and stuff, it's like we're the ones out there founding businesses and running these companies and stuff, and we're doing things, and clearly Hollywood has a bunch of ladies breaking in and that kind of thing. So it just kind of surprises me that the only time we ever get noticed is what not to wear, how not to do our hair, and if I see one more ad for makeup for middle-aged women.
Yeah.
There's something, special.
Yeah. Well, kind of it, but because I have to do my eyes different now. So.
But is the makeup different? Can you not use Maybelline or whatever?
No, exactly. No, definitely not.
That's
just how you apply it.
Yeah. I'm all for that. But no, this is a special lipstick that's designed for old wrinkly lips, apparently.
Ooh, okay.
I see the ad for it all the time.
I don't. What's going on?
Well, I think I just search a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, probably. Well, okay, so when I had my office at WeWork, most everybody knows what a WeWork is, but they're the office spaces that you can rent a space, and it's kind of everybody comes together. The one thing I did like about WeWork is they had a lot of in-services and stuff. So I took a couple of classes on marketing, and they were all part of being there and stuff. But, I kind of expected it to be a bunch of young 20, 30 somethings. And there were a lot of those. Yeah. But there were also a lot of people in midlife, both men and women, who were founding their own businesses or, so yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I do a lot of speaking at these WeWork kind of places. And I was surprised the first time, but then I started thinking about it, that it goes back to your sports car. Who else can afford it? Most of the 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, they're still working for some big company somewhere.
And they're paying off their student loans or they're starting their families.
Yeah. And so they don't have, they're not doing this kind of stuff. Whereas the rest of us are kind of, we're tired of living in our basements and working in our basements. Right. So we're I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. I really liked working at WeWork. It just doesn't work for me anymore because
the location of it all. Yeah.
So.
No, I like getting out. I go to the library.
I feel like a grown up.
I'm too cheap to pay for WeWork, so I go to the library.
I go to Starbucks. So this morning I got in my car to take my daughter to school, and I'm at a stoplight, and the screen is telling me Starbucks is 4 minutes away. I thought I was so I posted on Facebook, and does this mean that my car is my boss now? It's telling me to go to work. So
that's right. That's funny.
So I do a lot of work at Starbucks now. So, but I go through spurts because we talked about how we write books differently each time, and so sometimes I work. Lately, I've been working best at my kitchen counter on a bar stool, and I'll sit there on that hard bar stool all day long. So, and then I also found people often do hour sprints, and I found that I was doing better at 15-minute sprints.
Yep.
And so I'd do 15 minutes, and I'd get a lot of words, and then I'd give myself 5 or 10 minutes to go do something else, and then I'd sit down for 15 minutes, and I was getting a lot of words that way.
That's
but it's
a good one.
Every book is completely different. So
I wish there was just one way to do it and get it done.
I know, right? I know. So, do you know anybody else who's been successful? Or
I'm trying to think now. I
think too, and I think part of it is we've reached that age where we're not scared anymore.
Yes,
we're not as scared to take a risk or fail or
like you said, we've realized that life is short, and we need to start taking some of these. If not now, when kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think to me it wasn't because I posted this on my Facebook to sort of see what people wanted to talk about and what they've accomplished, and to me it was not so much I wasn't of course there were a lot of people who had done really amazing things, right? But to me it was also just a lot of people who had just tried new things, you know and or put themselves first or things like that. It kind of turned into that rather than sort of the humble brag of, look what I've done with my life.
Right.
There was still a lot, but to me, I was more impressed with a lot of people who were pivoting and doing new things, going back to school, getting their master's.
Well, I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm in my 40s, what is it too late to go back to school and change a job? Because, you know, sometimes it's harder to break into the workplace when you're in your 40s or 50s. And I mean,
well, I just ran into a friend.
Go ahead. I think it's great that people are doing it. That they're not letting that hold them back.
Right. So. Well, I just ran into a friend who I hadn't seen in a few years, and she was updating me on herself and another friend, and she told me that our mutual friend had gone back to school and was a nurse now. Like,
oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, that was fast, you know? Yeah. And she's like, well, it's been a few years. So I was like, it has been. And that she's going back to school to get, to go to teach elementary school.
Oh, wow.
And she kind of shrugged when she said it. And she's like, it's going to take a while. But she's like, I figure we always need teachers. And she's like, and really, I'll have more time when my kids will be older, and I'll have more free time to devote to my new job.
Yeah.
And so I think it's stuff like that. Like, I think when women are starting to sort of realize, like, I always wanted to be a teacher, or I always wanted to be a nurse, or, you know, things that maybe they didn't, you and I wanted to be writers. Like, there's like these things that maybe people wanted to do, but they felt like they had to do more of the, you know, it was too risky or too expensive or what have you. And now they're sort of taking those chances. I mean, I love especially the women breaking into Hollywood late in life, because you really think that that's such a young business. And imagine the courage.
It totally worships youth. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, imagine the courage it must take to walk into those castings.
I
and,
know,
you know,
right?
casting calls and just be like, yeah, I'm 45, motherfuckers. What's up? You know?
Yeah, right? And hopefully Hollywood will keep, as we discussed in an earlier podcast, there are more opportunities and more projects with midlife women. So hopefully those roles will keep there, and so
more can join.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yeah.
But no, I was really impressed. I really encourage you guys to find that thread on Twitter and read it, because it was really inspiring, and it was really cool to see what everyone's doing, opening yoga studios and opening bars, and, you know, moving across the world to volunteer. You know, this woman's like,
that's crazy.
I always wanted to have children. I thought I'd get married. None of that worked out. And so instead I'm moving to Cambodia, and I'm going to, like, care for orphans.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just things that you just are like, all right.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, you go, girl. Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, it's not too late to go out and get that dream career, or, start that painting class, or
try something new.
Yeah.
Drop us a note and let us know if you've done what you've accomplished after your 30s and 40s, and let us know what you're doing, and because we'd love to celebrate it.
Yes. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast so you can get us in your ear holes every week.
That's right. We'll just pop up on your screen.
Like, you won't even know we're there, but yet we're there.
We're there.
Waiting, watching.
Talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Hi. Denise here. I know you're sad because the podcast episode is over, and now you have to wait an entire week to hear us again. But guess what? You don't have to wait. You can listen to one of our audiobooks. Like to listen to true crime podcasts? I've got several mystery series to choose from. Or maybe you prefer to listen to podcasts about The Bachelor. Check out one of my rom-com series. You can find these audiobooks and many more at Audible, Apple Audiobooks, or check out my website, denisegroverspank.com, and click on audiobooks in the menu at the top. Happy listening!